Another fun-filled video for you. Today is a discussion video. Probably going to end real soon because it looks like it's going to rain here. In fact, I'm starting to feel the sprinkles coming down a little bit, but I'm going to do my best. This past month, I discovered a knife company that just made me go gaga. SHIROGOROV knives. They are absolutely excellent. The action is second to none. As I was discovering SHIROGOROV knives, I thought, there's another knife company that reminds me of the same exact quality. And the knife company that came to my mind was REEVE knives. And the legendary, well, in this case, the large Sebenza 21. I just started thinking, you know what? These companies have so much in common, but yet they're so different. But the one thing that they do have in common is high quality. They make really high quality folders. But there's a huge difference between these two knife companies, which is kind of just made me think. Because as I was playing around with this knife, I couldn't stop flipping it. I couldn't stop holding it. I couldn't stop. I even cut with it. And it just started to make me think, there's another knife company that does the same thing, but why am I more satisfied with what these guys, SHIROGOROV, is offering me versus what REEVE Knives is offering me? And I think I finally figured it out. REEVE Knives, as everybody knows, was started in 1978 by REEVE. He came up with the infamous, now legendary Sebenza 21, which is now called the Sebenza 31. And that became like the button for everything right after REEVE knives, because when you get to the point where you've checked out your Spydercos, you've checked out your Kershaws, you've checked out your ZTs, every major production knife company out there, you've checked them out, and then you say, okay, now I'm ready to spend some really good money on a really high quality knife, and you come across the Sebenza 21. Now the thing is, the Sebenza 21 does satisfy you, right? But there's a difference. I'm going to put this away. The difference is that REEVE lives by his own rules. And if you don't like the way he builds his knives, you're going to have to go somewhere else. And for a lot of people that are into knives and are into this hobby, REEVE isn't really the answer for them, because there's this conflicting thing with REEVE knives, is that they're either a tool or they're a custom knife making company, or because they do a lot of things to fight themselves as far as how they define who they are. I've come to the conclusion that REEVE knives is basically a good company that makes really great knives on their own terms, and I'm going to explain that part in a second. On their own terms, and they try, and that's the major word, they try to get you to accept a high-end quality knife on their own terms. In other words, you don't have any say over what you would consider to be a good quality knife that you would pay for. However, people pay for it no matter what. They say, okay, I'll live by the rules of REEVE and buy my first high quality end knife. I'll go by whatever whatever their knife philosophy is. It's because of that REEVE has become very kind of frustrating to a lot of people, because you either love REEVE knives or you hate them. And I've discussed this before. It's kind of like you, how do I explain this? It's like if you were the head of a knife company, right? And you only injected your values into your knife, and then you promote your values onto the public, and you try as hard as you can to get the public to buy what you're selling based on whatever you like as a knife maker and as a knife user, what you like, okay? For REEVE, it tends to work for the most part because he's got a reputation at this point. And he started making knives in 1978, and this is before we've had all the advancements in knife technology. Can I just say that? But now we're now many years later, and what's Chris Reeve doing? They're still doing the same thing that they did back in 1978. Yeah, they make some changes, but not enough to satisfy the knife buying public to the point where I gotta get a Chris Reeve knife. You know what I'm saying? So what have they changed in the last few years to make you want to buy their knives, right? So, okay, so this is the large Sebenza 21. They changed the inlays on the knife, right? That was one thing. It used to be two, like you see here. Now on the Sebenza 31, it's one whole inlay, okay? The detent ball is now ceramic, okay? If you want to consider that a change, okay. You know, are they doing ball bearings? No, they're not doing ball bearings. Are they doing flippers? No, they're not doing flippers. They're not doing anything that the public is asking for. They're still pumping out the same stuff over and over and over again. So, what do you do if you've gone through your Kershaws and you've gone through your Benchmades and your Spydercos and every other, you know, We Knives, all the other high-end knife company, production knife companies out there, and you're ready to step up, go into that in-between between custom knives and production knives, because that's what Chris Reeve represents. Somewhat custom, somewhat, you know, production. Because by all accounts, Chris Reeve Knives is still a production knife. All their knives are made by machine, okay? What do you do if you're looking for this kind of quality, right? Really high-end quality, no blade play, you know, all the regular, usual things you look for in a knife. What do I do if I want all of that, like ball bearing action? Where do I go? Because Chris Reeve is not giving me anything. And then it dawned on me, where do you go, okay? SHIROGOROV knives. You go to SHIROGOROV knives, man. These guys do the same exact thing that Chris Reeve Knives does. They do the same thing, but the difference is you get the action that you want. You get the the beautiful customization that you want. What the difference between these two knives is that, and the knife companies, is that Chris Reeve Knives will put out knives with, like, you know, the way they want to do it, no changes, no whatever. They'll give you limited choices and inlays, limited everything. They'll just put it out there, and then if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't, you know, go somewhere else. That's their attitude, basically. That's what I get from this knife company, and I've decided to accept it, because I do like their knives. I do like them, but every once in a while I say to myself, I wish they did something more. That thought doesn't seem to not enter my mind. It always enters my mind. You know, I want something more from Chris Reeve Knives, and they're not giving it to you. They're just giving you the same old stuff over and over and over again. I mean, if you think about it, when was the last time these guys put out a brand new knife? What was it, that slip joint that they had like 5 years ago? They don't put anything new out. There's nothing new. They're just kind of relying on the fact that we build really good high quality knives / tools. You either like it or you don't like it. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. Then I discovered SHIROGOROV knives. Now, SHIROGOROV knives, they do things a little bit differently, and I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain by putting out another SHIROGOROV knife. So this is the SHIROGOROV Quantum, okay? And this is the SHIROGOROV Hottie white techno carbon fiber knife. So the difference between Chris Reeve knives and SHIROGOROV knives is they basically do the same thing, but they do it their own way. So what SHIROGOROV knives does, okay, is they put out these I'm going to use the word pre-customized knives. They put, like, the best features on a knife at a certain price point, and if you like it, you like it. If you want a little bit more, then you pay a little bit more for the higher end one. So let me explain. This is I guess it's a special edition, not a limited edition, a special edition SHIROGOROV knives put out by Recon Knives, okay? What this means is that Recon Knives shows all the best features to put on the knife, and then if you decide to choose it, then you're getting the best features that they offer. But they didn't include everything. They just put the best of the best. So, for example, with this knife, one of the main features of this knife is that you get the MRBS, the multi-roll ball bearing system, put in here, so you get a chance to feel what that feels like on this knife. You don't get a full back spacer, right? They take the full back spacer away and they put a barrel spacer right there. So that's how they basically do it. But you're basically the action, and this is a full-blown Shirogorov knife. White techno carbon fiber on the show side, and then the frame lock side also has an inlay. You get the multi-ball ball bearing row system, and you also get a full back spacer. So you get a chance to choose between these two knives, right? At the certain price point. This one is I believe this is $725. This one, this is $1,100 on Recon One. So as you can see, you can see what it is that you're paying for when you get, if you decide to choose whichever one you want. You get all the best features on this knife, on this one, and you don't pay as much. You only pay $725 versus $1,100, where you get the full-blown carbon fiber on one side, you get the full-blown back spacer, multi-roll ball bearing system, versus just getting the multi-roll ball bearing system in there, and then the one barrel spacer. But I'll tell you what, for the action and what you pay for, to pay for that, that's worth every penny. My point is this: the fact that I have a chance to choose from not, how do I say it, from not whatever Chris Reeve Knives says I can choose from, right? But Shirogorov Knives is going, okay, if you want that, we'll give that to you, and we'll take this away, but we want you to at least experience the best of what we have to offer. You like ball bearings? We're a company that does ball bearings. We'll even give that to you at a certain price point. And as you can see from both of these two knives, they're doing something that Chris Reeve Knives is not able to do. Yes, Chris Reeve Knives is a great knife company, and they do what they do have to offer is great. However, you don't have a choice as to whether or not, you don't get any input into, well, can I have this in a ball bearing knife? No, you can't. No, you can't. You cannot have it in a ball bearing knife, because we don't do ball bearing knives. You're simply going to have to accept what we have to offer, and if you don't like it, go somewhere else. I believe, really, that Shirogorov Knives, in part, in some small sense, actually exists because the consumer is asking for something, and these guys aren't putting it out. However, if you want a really good quality tool, and you're happy with the aesthetics on this knife, and you're happy with the way the knife looks, and you don't have any gripes at all, where you look at this knife and you say to yourself, this is perfect. This is what I want. I don't want anything more than what you guys are offering me, then Chris Reeve is the company for you. However, if you like ball bearing action and you want to be able to experience the best of everything you've never had a chance to experience as a knife guy at a certain price point, then Shirogorov Knives is the company for you to get into. Feel free to experience Chris Reeve Knives. Feel free to check out what these guys have to offer. But if you're a guy that's into flippers, you're not going to get that satisfaction for Chris Reeve Knives. You'll have to go somewhere else. If you're a guy that's into the drop shut action, you're not going to get that with Chris Reeve Knives. You're going to have to simply accept their version of smooth knives and just go with it. This is my, and what's ironic is that the knife that I'm holding in my hand is the most, this is the most smoothest knife, Chris Reeve knife that I own, which is my Chris Reeve Numzon. I had this anodized by Knife Modders in this sort of copper color. I just thought it was a lot better looking than the stonewashed with the black accents on it. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, is that Chris Reeve Knives would never do this to their knives. So I have to go to another company to get the knife to look like this, because this is the look that I enjoy having on my knife. And Knife Modders was nice enough to give this to me so that I'd be satisfied with the Chris Reeve knife, because Chris Reeve wouldn't do this. So I had to go somewhere else to have them do it for me. And if you are a knife fanatic, and maybe you've checked out Chris Reeve knives and you said, yeah, I do like what they have put out, but not enough to buy them, maybe Shirogorov knives will satisfy you, because if you're the guy that's into the ball bearing action and all that other fun stuff, I mean, you know, you're going to want to go to Shirogorov knives, because they pre-customize their knives at a certain price point. They'll take something away and then they'll add something that's really awesome, because they know you want to experience that. And that's one of the main reasons why I love Shirogorov knives. That plus their quality is every bit as high-end as Chris Reeve knives, and you get the ball bearing action, and you get the customized, you know, all the customizations you can choose from. And it would probably satisfy you better, more better than having to accept what Chris Reeves has to give you on their own terms. So it's something to think about. I mean, if you just want a really good high quality tool and you accept what these guys have to offer on their terms, then by all means go for Chris Reeve. But if you're a guy who has experienced ball bearing action and you want to check that out, and you want, you know, more aesthetics than what, you know, Chris Reeve knives has to offer, then you're going to want to go to Shirogorov knives, because they're really a knife company that is able to satisfy you in a way that Chris Reeve knives won't. So while they offer the same basics, in conclusion, that's what I want to say, while both companies offer the same basics, Shirogorov knives offers you more in terms of selection and choice. And you as a consumer will find that to be much more satisfying. Yeah, you're going to probably pay a little bit more for Shirogorov knives, but think how much more happy you'd be. I mean, would you be more, think about this, would you be more happier spending, say, $700 on a knife that's really awesome, but each time it's in your pocket, you pull it out and you look at it and you say, gee, I wish it had ball bearings in it. Gee, I wish that it had different color inlays on it. Why can't they have flippers? Are you willing to pay for that? Or would you rather go for Shirogorov, pay a little bit more, and never have any of those questions in your mind? Something to think about. This is Omar, your South African knife guy, just coming at you with a little bit of a discussion. Give me your comments if you have any regarding this video. I gave it some thought, and before I shot this video, I know I didn't say anything negative about either company. All I'm trying to say is one company offers and another company really doesn't offer, but they give you the best of what they got. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. I do have some wallets that are coming. And please comment on my video if you have any questions. Once again, this video was on Shirogorov knives and Chris Reeve knives. And before I close, once again, because I forgot to do it again at the beginning, please check out the knifeenthusiast.com. They are the #1 source for knife information. All things, all knives. The knifeenthusiast.com. Check them out. You can buy knives there, you can sell knives there. You can find any knife information that you want on knifeenthusiast.com. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Omar. This is the South African Knife Guy channel. You guys have a fantastic and wonderful Saturday.